Mags, what's going on?
Just hanging out with you.
How's that production call?
It was scintillating as always.
That's amazing. I love a production call.
I know you do.
Love a production call. Well, honestly though, I got to be honest. Production call meeting it doesn't matter as much to me as it does to you and the host because you're moving around, so you kind of need to know what's going on. I'm in the same place doing the same thing every time anyway. So.
Very true. You have the least, pertinent position to be on a production call.
The least important.
The best though, and I love Andy, but the best is when Andy gets riled up on a production call. It's entertainment, that you didn't even know you were getting.
It's worth the price of entrance. Yeah. Yeah. That's my favorite is when he's like, can we get this going, guys? Can we get this going?
Meanwhile, he's the one who always holds it up. It's great.
I know. All right. This Breeders Cup Juvenile Fillies. Let's start with the one that is near and dear to our heart as the New Yorkers here. Scottish Lassie, who won the Frizette. She got a fast number there, but I will say this. I think when you have other races of similar ages at the same day, at the same distance, I can trust the number a little bit more. Chancer McPatrick ran the 1-turn mile in the same day. Tell me a little bit about Scottish Lassie.
Right. So she ran the Frizette a fifth of a second slower than Chancer McPatrick. And if anything, he got a little bit more pace to close into where she was 3 wide the entire way. And it's funny. Her and Snow White, I did those 2-year-old reports at the very beginning of Saratoga. And I went to Jorge Abreu, as we well know him as TT, his barn. He goes, Mag, how he talks. Mag, look at my Mackenzie filly. And it was her. And she's gorgeous. She's very elegant, very athletic. Unfortunately, she didn't get debut until the end of Saratoga. I didn't get to do the race. And then I wasn't there for the Frizette, but I know that she is very talented, and we got to see it in her second start. Snow White, Danny Gargan had told me about as well. She got away a little bit slowly in that Frizette where she got a lot of, dirt kicked in her face. It was a good learning experience, and I thought she persevered, but I think she was always going to be second best to Scottish Lassie. So I think, Jorge TT might be able to turn the tables on this year's Juvenile Fillies, where he ran a really good second last year with Jody's Pride, a horse that was a little under the radar. Now he's a little bit more front row and center with Scottish Lassie.
I wish I would have had that lottery ticket. McKinsey wins 3 grade 1s for 2-year-olds in New York in 2024. Something tells me that would have paid pretty darn good.
I would have not had it. You couldn't have paid me to take that because I was never his biggest fan as a racehorse, and neither did I think he'd be a precocious sire. So he's gotten 2 and 2 likely short prices into both juveniles on the dirt.
Immersive, another one that I'm assuming had an opportunity to see when at Saratoga for the spin away. Another grade 1 winner, dual grade 1 winner. What are your thoughts about Immersive?
She's not brilliant. She's not flashy, but she keeps getting the job done. She big, physically sure at all things you like to see in these types of, horses at this point in their careers. And she already has that experience going the 2 turns. And she just feels like that type of horse that, again, isn't going to blow their socks off, but she's going to just keep grinding away, keep being there. And she's really done nothing wrong so far. So she has that lovely Godolphin pedigree and the right connections to get her to the winner's circle that first Friday in November.
The West Coast, just as in general, a little bit light this year. I always feel like they usually have one kind of quote unquote monster. But even in the boys division, they don't. In here, when you look, I don't really see anything that really jumps out to me with these 2 Baffert runners, the undefeated non-compliant, and then Noonie, the expensive daughter of Win, Win, Win.
I remember when they bought her, and I was like, what? They're paying that much for a win, win, win? Look, I liked him as a racehorse. I remember that day in the Forgo, it was a deluge, and the rainbow appeared over the track in Saratoga. But yeah, Noonie has speed, and that could be dangerous where it doesn't feel like there's an abundance of quick type of horses coming from the East Coast to meet her. Does that make her dangerous? But she's been run down by her stablemate. And I don't have a problem with non-compliant. I actually think it's pretty cool that tis the law. A horse that did so much for us here in New York during that COVID era of 2020. So a horse near and dear to a lot of our hearts. It's cool that he has a contender in the Breeders' Cup in his first crop. But I have not been overly impressed with those performances.
Well, the Japanese are obviously going to win some of these big races. They've started to make a lot more noise. Where I think they used to kind of be a punchline and kind of some toss type horses. But now they're going to bring over more than they ever have. And an American Bikini is one of them, an American bred horse, American Pharaoh out of a Bernardini mare. I know you probably haven't seen her yet outside of maybe some video, but what are your thoughts in general just about these Japanese horses coming over to the U.S., the ship, and all of the above?
It's like this mastermind plan that has been in the works for years, if not the last 20 years, that the Japanese have been acquiring American horses through the sales, breeding them, having some of their influence, obviously deep impact, but more, they want the more dirt horses too, to be able to come here and compete. And they've been bringing the right ones. We saw them almost win a Kentucky Derby this year, probably was the best horse in Forever Young. And it feels like they're just so analytical and, do everything with so much thought behind it and research that they have, and they're going to continue to win these big races. So yeah, am I excited to see her? Do I know that much about her? Do I probably need to do a little more research? Yeah. But she scares me. Absolutely.
At this point, anything that you would want to hook onto, or do you want to maybe see them work a little bit, see where they draw, or is there anything that you feel strong at this point about?
It's amazing. I hate to make it a lot of the draw, but so often I feel like it does have an impact in these large fields. We see 11, I think, on the pre-entry so far. So I know there's some, talks of horses kind of on the fence about entering, can get 14 in there. Scottish Lassie is one I've liked from the get-go. Now, she did work her first breeze back with Jody's Pride of all horses. Didn't quite get to her in that breeze, but as TT said, it was just her first breeze back. He wanted more of a maintenance type of move. So until she's older, okay, fine. Let's challenge your best 2-year-old. I get it. But yeah, I'd like to see more breezes. I'd like to see the draw, but in my heart of hearts, I really like Scottish Lassie.
Mags, I appreciate you taking the time. We'll see you soon.
Absolutely. My pleasure.
Twinspires.com are back in the tournament game. You can play the Breeders Cup Betting Challenge through Twinspires.com, and you can also start trying to qualify for horse racing's latest major tournament, the 2025 Kentucky Derby Betting Challenge. Go to Twinspires.com and click the Tournaments tab.